Okay, so a person I know recently asked me basically how do I do the shading that I do basically. So I just thought I'd make this quick video just to kind of show him that, and just showing the process of how everything's done, just to kind of give him an idea of what I do to get it looking how it looks basically. So it's pretty simple. Like, I usually just start with like this there's two ways of doing it basically. There's a simplified version of it, which is quicker and easier, and there's a more complicated version of it, but I'll go into that soon. So, but first, usually I just kind of find out where, like, you know, the lighting is on the picture or the sketch or whatever. So like, for example, let's say like the lighting is coming from right here, and you know, like being on this part of the picture, it's like this, the light source is coming from there and going in this direction. Usually I'll just start by like looking at the picture, and basically everything is like, I don't look at it as just one picture. I look at everything as its own little object, its own thing. So like, for example, the shoe, the trousers, like it's hard to explain. Let me show you. So like, basically I have a simplified version, is basically where I I don't shade the whole thing. So like, you see this character Jessie, right? Instead of shading everything I see on her, right, where the shading points would be, I like kind of simplify it and kind of just think where would the darkest points be. So like, I would just like, let me just get red, and I'll just do this basically, right? And I would just like shade only these parts. Anything else over this line I won't shade, I won't even touch, right? But anything here I would like kind of shade. So let me just give you an idea of what I mean. So, you know, like, let's see, I kind of just start here, right? Forgive me, it's messy, it's just a quick sketch, and just, you know, you get just to get the point, but you know, kind of just get where the light sources is. And what I do, right, to get that kind of to shade the way I shade basically, is I never usually touch the line art really. It's messy, but you get the point. I just kind of just go as close as I can to it basically, you know, things like that. But usually if this like really dark places, like you see where the trousers overlay the shoes, basically I just kind of just do that. And again, just fill in the spaces, but don't touch the actual lines, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain. So yeah, basically you know, just fill in the big areas first and stuff, do these little parts here and all that. It's something you gotta kind of like just kind of pick up and just kind of just find your own way of doing, really, because this is my way of doing it. But you know, you shouldn't copy exactly the way I do it. Like, obviously take the basic rules that I've taught you, or you know, that I do, and then you kind of just, yeah, do your own thing with it. Find whatever, do whatever feels comfortable for you, you know, or whatever looks good for you. Because there's certain things you probably see me doing that you probably don't prefer or like, or whatever, that you'll probably do something different. You know what I'm saying? A little different that I wouldn't usually do, and that's okay, that's fine, you know, as long as it looks good to you or anyone else, really. It's cool, isn't it? But you get the point. So as you see, so yeah, I'll probably redo this all, but you get, just to get the point, you know. And it's kind of like, how do I explain this? So like, put it this way, like, all right, so let's say you just have this box, right, or this cube or whatever, right? So like, it's like the lines kind of block everything. Like, if it makes sense, it's like, it's so hard to explain now that I'm thinking about it. So the light source is coming here, right? So obviously I'll just kind of like do a little shading here. I just find the darkest points of this section, of this square basically, right? Yeah, forget about this one for now. This is his own object, this is his own like thing, right? This doesn't exist right now, you know. That's the way I process it basically. So I just look at the darkest point of this specific part here and just kind of just shade where the darkest point is and just go from there, really, you know what I'm saying? And then like, obviously I'll shade the darkest points here and stuff and everything. and this is his own object as well, whatever, you know, whatever you want to call it, right? Its own section of this piece, and you just kind of go from there and just, yeah, you kind of treat everything as its own separate entity or whatever you want to call it. That's basically how I do it, really. But yeah, you get the point. But that's basically how I see everything when I'm like drawing and stuff like that. Yeah, basically. So, you know, just every little thing is its own thing, really. You know, when I'm just shading these little things like here, just to kind of, I don't really care if I go over the lines. I'm deliberately going over the lines. That's just you know, that's what I prefer doing. But it looks cool. Whatever looks good, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, just kind of keep going, basically. Yada yada yada. So mainly just all like the darkest points and things like that. And actually, wait, just here. But yeah, you get the point, basically. And then just go over here and shade all of this quickly, just a quick thing. But you know, so you get the point. You get what I'm trying to say, basically. The hair is its own kind of thing. It's its own entity, basically. So I don't really care about nothing else at this point except the hair, and just I don't go over the lines. I don't shade anything else but the hair, you know, or whatever section, whatever. You know, basically, you know what I'm saying. Maybe there's actually what I mean by is put it this way. Most times, yeah, if you think of it this way, most times, like all this black shading I'm doing, think of it like, I think of it as thing like it would never go over lines usually it doesn't go over lines except for certain exceptions, but usually it won't overcross lines, is basically what I'm saying. So like, see that, you know, so like basically is what I'm trying to say. So like, you know, obviously there was a line or something there that was basically there. It will basically cut this off and I just kind of do this, if that makes sense, and then just color this in black. But and same for this, you know, whatever, you know. But that's basically what I mean and stuff. So yeah, and then just kind of go from there, and I just find the darkest points of that that place, and then just yeah, shade it in, really. You know, just color it black, basically. So you know, the lips is his own kind of thing. See how there's a line there? Just kind of don't go over that, and then just cross over it, and it's kind of like, yeah, nose. You get the point. You know, you can kind of do this as well. Just kind of like, you know, make things look a little more three-dimensional. Certain spots, you know, which tends to help. That's what I've noticed. When you're shading like this, it kind of makes things look a little more three-dimensional. It brings more like, I don't know how to put it, but you get the point. It looks a little more, it looks better, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, so as I said, this is really rough, but you get the point. Yep. Yeah. Dude, this is actually, no, that's cool. This was a simplified version, so actually, as I said before, this was a simplified version. So I was gonna go from there to there. So like around. So if I just cut this off, yeah. Actually, this will be useful for the complicated version. Well, not really the complicated version. It's basically this. It's basically the simplified version, just but you shade everywhere. Basically, I'll show you in a second. So anything that's just naturally black, you know, I just kind of just color in regardless usually. Oh wait, what am I doing? No, I want to show you the simplified version, not wait, so I'm gonna cut this, right? Oh, am I? Wait. Yeah, okay, it's the same. I didn't edit this layer, so yeah, okay, I'll just go back to this. Yeah, okay, basically you get the point, basically. And then, oh yeah, you can just cut anything that's black. What I do usually, regardless if anything's black, it's just black, you know, it's not really shading, it's just, yeah, I usually do it like this. And then that's basically a belt buckle, so yeah. Not buckle, this is just a belt, my bad, you know. Anyway, yeah, so basically I'm gonna go a little deeper now. So obviously basically what I'm trying to say is lines separate things. When you get the point, usually lines will separate things from other things. So like just so you can kind of still see what you're seeing, basically, and it doesn't get all cluttered up because everything's just all black. And personally I don't really like that, but you get the point. So the arms now, so like what I mean basically is, if you see how I'm touching the lines now, I usually only do that at the darkest points, like here, right? But if I was to just do that everywhere, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You see where Jesse's hair is? If I was to just do that everywhere all the time, you kind of like can't see as much detail as you used to see now, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but you get the point, I hope. I'm terrible at explaining things. I'm more of a visual kind of person, you know, when it comes to things. Like sometimes I can't explain things too well, but I get it, I can just see it and just kind of just get it down or whatever. But yeah, so usually I won't touch lines because it gets harder to see all the details that you've put into your artwork or whatever you're drawing or whatever. So yeah, basically darkest points, and just kind of just go out, it's kind of just shading where the darkest points of the hands would be, you know. This part, her watch, it doesn't look like it, but it's a watch. It's a more sci-fi type kind of futuristic watch. Earring. This part was rough, but you get the point. Oh right, this is a hand, I believe. Okay, so yeah, basically you get the point. And yeah, basically, so I just keep it simple. And then you have like the other character, Blinky. So now what I do is I usually so obviously lines break things down and things like that, yada yada yada. Now what I usually do to how I process things is that you can just process it like that, but usually what I do is process things like, so Jesse's one character. I like separate things between like from like characters to different objects to whatever, you know. So like for example, right, so alright, let's say you have this house, right, and then you have like I don't know, it's people here, right, another one, whatever, right, some background stuff. So basically what I do is I look at everything separately. So from like one person to another. So let's say the sun's here, right, so I'll shade like one person here, right, he's his own little object, and then I'll just shade another person, whatever, you get what I'm saying. I just look at everything separately, and then, you know, I look at the background all separately, and so on and so on. Everything is just kind of like separate from each other, but they're all joined together in its own way. It's a weird way. It's hard to explain, but you get the point. So Blink is his own kind of object, his own kind of entity or whatever, and I'll just kind of shade him in appropriate places. Again, simplifying it, so, you know, just doing less shading with him, but so I just kind of like go from here or whatever, right? So, you know, basically I'm just doing half the job I'd usually do. But usually that's not usually a bad thing. It still looks good, but at the same time it doesn't take away from the picture. Like, sometimes I prefer it because sometimes if you do too much, it's just too much to look at sometimes. But sometimes it's actually really cool to see. Usually though, I use the simplified version when it comes to like animate, because I'm creating my own cartoon and stuff like that. I was thinking about it, right? And I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to be drawing hundreds of frames, right? And every picture is gonna be like, have to be fully shaded. Like, just draw shading one character alone like this or whatever, right? Takes a while, and you have to do this and that, and all the backgrounds, the coloring, and then just little things like that. It's just it takes forever. So I was thinking, I gotta make the workload easier on me, but still make everything look cool, you know, still compromise basically, you know, and that's what I did. So I came up with a simplified version, which is a simple solution. Just kind of don't shade everything, don't shade as much as don't shade enough but not too much, you know, that it overworks me basically, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so you get the point. It's kind of just a simplified version, but yeah. Yeah, basically you get it, you know what I'm saying. And then hand is its own kind of thing as well. Make his hand. But yeah, you see, things like that. And then yeah, so if I just merge these two layers in it, right? Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, it's cool. So now this would be more of a complicated version. Let me just kind of like, obviously, finalize this. But yeah, this is basically the simple version, but just like I'm shading everywhere I can. You know, all the dark points that I use, the main dark points that I see in the picture, you know, just kind of fill it in, get it shaded. You know, put more detail in it basically. You know, it's not bad when you're just like doing it for one picture, but when like it gets a little rough when you know, the picture's extremely detailed, which is not bad, but if you're doing like an animation or whatever, yeah, it can take a while, man. It can take a toll on you, at least for me, especially if you're just one dude just doing it, just animating all by yourself. It takes time, you know. You don't want to burn yourself out. Alright then, so let's go a little more yeah, but yeah, it's basically shading but without limiting myself. That's basically it, really. So yeah, find the darkest point of this part. So yeah, it's basically that simple. Well, I hope it's simple. I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it, really. You know, I'm an amateur at art and stuff, animation and all that for the moment, but you know, with time and practice, anyone can get good at something. So yeah, this as well, all that, you know, just kind of where all the creases are in clothes and things. It's kind of just all those little things just make a difference. And then here as well, it's all the darkest points, you know. There's not too much logic behind it, you know, just a little bit of basic rules and stuff like that. You can just go from there, but more importantly than anything, right, it's just does it look cool, you know? Are you consistent with it, and does it look cool, basically, is is what it comes down to really, because the way my technique here is very consistent at the moment because I've been doing it for a couple of years now. So I pretty much know what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to it, basically. So yeah, Blinky can say the same more or less, I suppose, except for like I just shade more of the corners just to kind of just add more detail, you know. But yeah, you get the point, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. I'll shade this one in a second, but you get the point. But yeah, this is pretty much how I shade. If you want to go in more depth, like what I do sometimes as well, there's another thing I do is usually I'll have another layer just to like highlight some of the shiny parts of my art and stuff like that. So for example, like you got this like silver, right? So let's say a metal part. So this part's like metal basically. Wait. Let me just make another layer here, right? Just down here. So if I just paint this like silver or whatever, right? So it's shiny, right? So basically I'd use this layer, turn down the opacity on it, and just kind of like use white just to kind of like fill out, basically do the same technique I do with the black shading, we'll just do it with the white. It doesn't make much of a difference, just you can't really see the difference right now, but if I was to do like a polished picture and, you know, color on those shiny bits, shade them, reflecting off the like the, you know, wherever the light source is, basically you definitely see the distance. And then usually what I do is whatever the color of the light is there, let's say that the sun is orange or whatever, right, I'll usually do like another layer and kind of color that in and kind of like you know what I'm saying, right, kind of do something like that. But you get how cool that would look and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's basically it. That's basically the basis of how I shade my drawings and stuff like that usually as well. Let me just delete these. Usually as well, this is just personal preference, but obviously you just gotta do you know, the shadow like on the bottom of someone. Usually I just keep it very simple. I just kind of do something like this. Yeah, just kind of go from there, and I just kind of, yeah, this is just personal preference though, but this is what I do. And yeah, about almost there. It's very rough, but you get what I'm going for. What am I doing? There we go. Yeah, so but basically that, you get the point, you know what I'm saying. So, you know, I'm not a professional at drawing or shading or whatever, you know, there's probably a lot of mistakes I've made with this. However, I assume it does look pretty cool, right? You know, to look at the very least, and even draw or whatever. So, and that's what I'm going for, you know. I just want my art to look cool as hell, even if it's not, you know, even if it's got a lot of mistakes in them. I will learn from the mistakes, you know, over time. But you know, that's my whole point. I just want to like make my artwork look cool. Originally I got this this style of shading from some dude, what was his name, some Japanese guy, I believe. His name was I think his name was Takeshi Koike or something like that, I'm not sure, but basically I got that kind of shading style from him and a few other places as well, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to implement that in my art because it's such a cool thing. Like, as soon as you see this kind of shading, it's just in your face and you can't look away from it at all. And I wanted that kind of like, I wanted that because I wanted people to look at my art and think like and just look at the shading just below it and be like, oh yeah, I know exactly who drew this picture or animated this, and so on and so on. And so I took that idea and just kind of made it my own thing, and just did my own thing with it. So it's not exactly like theirs, but I just, you know, tweaked it a bit to my preferences and things like that, and just went with it basically. So I've just been doing that ever since. But yeah, that's how I shade, yada 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 and all that. Yeah, if this helped anyone really, yeah, cool. I'd be happy with that. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, peace out.